This is the PC Story by Nolan, Grace, and Miles.
My name is Dr. Steve Sartori, and I am a technology teacher at Josselin High School and also for the Southwest Washtenaw Consortium. A PC is what they call open architecture. What that means is you can go and you could build a PC with an Intel processor or a AMD processor. So open architecture means it has a lot of flexibility. A Mac typically is more closed architecture. In other words, you want RAM for a Mac, you need to buy Mac RAM. Both have their advantages. Certainly with a PC, that gives you some flexibility in components that you choose and things like that. One of the things with the Mac is it's very stable because the operating system is written for that computer for those components. If you buy new components, it's made for that. So it tends to have a nice stability issue. Although they have regular updates, I find that Macs are functional a lot longer than a PC. The PC repair class, it's hardware and operating systems, and it's the first in a sequence of courses that we offer. And basically what it is, it's a deep understanding of how computers work. Again, both hardware, operating systems, mobile devices. We do some Linux operating system work as well, a little bit of Mac work within it. And as you're done with it, you achieve a certification. And certifications are really important in industry, even at the entry level, to start getting a job. In reality, building a computer isn't that difficult, but getting all the components that you want, the proper components, things to match up, and then maintaining it, and then of course all the software settings that go with it. That's really kind of where the challenges lie now. When I first started building, when I first started with the class in particular, we used a lot more. In fact, it's all we used was regular computers that you could see, touch, feel. The challenge with those was the labs were a lot trickier to get to work. It was always funny if a lab was not supposed to work so a student could fix it, and a student raised their hand and go, "My computer's still working." You know, it was kind of funny to hear that question. The other problem was the ability to keep up with the technology. Like I said, we still do some hardware stuff. We still use multimeters to test things, and we do some stuff for hardware to get that feel. But really, I think the learning experience is far and above by doing it this way. When the class started, not only the class itself, but the computers, they were a little bit more, there's a little bit more work to do on the hardware end of it. And it really has transitioned to the software side a lot more. And again, when you build a computer, you're still plugging in RAM, and you're still putting in the power supply, and you're still putting in the, the processor with the heat sink, and yada yada, all that stuff there. It's really kind of changed as far as that. Again, the operating systems have changed quite a bit. Now it's much more where it's automatic, that the computer picks up if you add a new component and do things with it, where before you had to go in and put in a lot of settings. What's really changing in the industry is, and it has been changing over the years, this isn't brand new, but is certainly networking, which I offer a networking class after the hardware and operating systems, and then computer security. A lot of my students have built computers. They don't even really, to be honest, they don't need to finish the class. You can fairly early on do that. So I have students that build their own computers. Typically with a computer, a lot of people think, well, maybe it's cheaper. A lot of times it really isn't cheaper, but you can get exactly what you want. And especially people that like to game. And if, you want a gaming computer, you can build it exactly like you want, how it's going to function, how it's going to perform, those kind of things. I've had lots of students do that. I've had a lot of students get jobs. I had a student email me at the beginning of the school year who went through my program, and he's going to Western right now, and was able to get a job at the help desk, and he's doing all that kind of work, and that was all. They told him it was because he went through the program and the certification, because you can, show what you can do, those kind of things. So yeah, I've had a lot of students build computers through that. PCs are interesting right now. Certainly we have the desktop PC, if you will. We have the laptop PC, but then we also have the tablet. And then we also have certainly the phone type thing as well. So all of those mobile devices kind of come into play, and they each have their own thing, as well as Chromebooks. And each one kind of can do things. Like for me, tablets are for consuming information. Yeah, you can create some information on them, but in general, they're for consuming. Where computers are more for creating. You can create a lot of information with them, and then Chromebooks are somewhere in between. You certainly create a lot of information, but you're limited because you're using the Android operating system with that, through Google. The laptop is an interesting one. I just read an article where the inexpensive laptop seems to be going away. And so if you're going to do that, you might as well get a Chromebook. If you want a high-end laptop for either just productivity or gaming, if you're an engineer and you're running simulations, you need a high-end computer. Those are kind of staying around. I think that lower-end laptop might kind of disappear out of that. Well, you certainly can build it for anything you want. I mean, you can build a productivity one. If you want one that, you can load Microsoft Office on it and, type papers and, do spreadsheets, you certainly can do all that. Those a lot of times are not dollar-wise beneficial, because you probably could buy one already built, that's going to be less expensive, that will, be very competitive with. Certainly the gaming piece, or if you're trying to do something with audio, video, those kind of things there are where you tend to be beneficial to build your own PC with that.
Ever since I was 7 years old, I can remember building and kind of tearing apart computers to see what's inside. Throughout my teenage years is really when I started to build my own computer. I definitely see them as a tool to use towards your education and definitely towards a career. When we were all kids, I can imagine that we all played with Legos and stuff. We built Legos. And PC is the same way, pretty much. It's really satisfying to see all those parts come together in an actual computer and seeing them work when you push that power button for the first time and everything communicates together correctly. It really feels like an accomplishment. I started out with a MacBook. I traded it for a gaming computer on Craigslist, and ever since then I've just been upgrading the same computer, and it's definitely a good feeling that it's gonna stick with me for a while, and probably gonna go to college with it. I've used the same computer for about 4 to 5 years now, and I built it back in 2017, I'd like to say. Imagine not going to your parents and being like, I don't need a computer for college, I already built one. That's my opinion, that's really cool.